You're listening to a Rock Candy podcast.
Hey, I'm Joe, and I'm a composer and a musician.
That's why we call you the Maestro. And I'm Will. I'm a literal doctor.
But don't trust this guy with your ailments.
No, I study comic books, but it still counts.
We're a couple of creative kids who host a podcast called Common Creatives.
We dig deep into filmmakers, musicians, books, and characters, really all types of artistic works and the people who make them.
We break apart the art we love to see what makes it tick.
Basically, we give you the definitive take on whatever or whoever we're discussing. All opinions are definitive and final.
So check out Common Creatives wherever you listen to podcasts.
Greetings, meine Damen und Herren. Willkommen zu the Pickle Boot Shop. I am your host, Reese. Today I will do disclaimer. First, I drink only Wasser. What do you want to make of this? I don't know. Also, we get playfully racist again. Insiders, we talk about how they had health insurance. Steve Taylor, freaking smooth. We spell it S-M-O-O-V-E. Smooth. Steve Taylor. I refuse to do another Brave Saint Satan album. What do you care? Also, we talk about bat-winging, testicular torsion, and Lou from the Ephesus cannot evacuate his bowels. Guten Abend, meine Damen und Herren. Auf Wiedersehen.
Joe and Reese at Pickle Boot Shop. Get yourself a pickle. Get yourself a boot. Joe and Reese at Pickle Boot Shop.
Pickle time is happening. Pickle time. I go down to get some pickles.
With your grandma and your kids.
I go downtown.
With your grandma and your kids.
Boot time. Pickle and boot time. Don't be fickle, get your pickle cider, pop a nickel in your boots. Not a place of ill repute. Bring your grandma and your kids. Come for the pickles, stay for the squids.
Pickle and Boot Shop.
Stay for the squids. Boots.
Pickle time.
Put that pickle in your pants. Get some booze inside your hands. Put that pickle in your pants. Get some booze inside your hands.
1996, we start this.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 9 of the Joe and Reese's Pickle and Boot Shop, a diabolical brainwashing machine. Reese, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking water.
Oh, you switched to water.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm crazy right now.
yeah, you're getting nuts. I cracked open a Michelob Ultra, another. Ladies and gentlemen, when you're listening to this, Reese and I have had to break today up a little bit to record. So we actually recorded the second part of the podcast earlier. So earlier, I drank my first and second Michelob Ultra, but now we're recording the first part, and this is now going to be my third and fourth.
Oh man, that makes me want a Michelob Ultra
Yeah, you should. I think we need to get sponsored by Michelob Ultra.
for real.
Just a fantastic light beer, 2.6 carbs. Man, so
Or
good.
Schlitz
95
malt liquor.
calories. And it tastes good.
Yeah, Schlitz malt liquor does not taste good.
Yeah, Mickey's, Crazy Eye.
Keystone Ice, if you're
Ooh.
listening.
Oh, I have a friend. Her go-to is Keystone. Ooh.
She hates her liver.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know what? What have you ever done?
Yeah, what have you ever done
Kept
for me,
me
liver?
alive?
Yeah.
Screw you, liver.
What have you done for me lately, though?
Yeah.
You know what I want to do? I want to get rid of these.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, you can't see me. I'm pointing to my headphones. So when I look at Reese, I'm seeing him on the screen, and I see me on the screen, and I can't stand. Like, I feel like I'm distorted. I feel like maybe it's just me, but I feel like my nose is absolutely gigantic from this camera. And then, you know, obviously the things get moved closer to the camera, they appear bigger. So I feel like my nose is huge, but I hate how I look. I get very self-conscious seeing myself with these. So I tried to bring home I have my Beats by Dre.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so I had them connected earlier, like Bluetooth, but it wasn't like coming in good. I have to figure it out. I have to get it so where my sound is coming through with that, and then hopefully that makes me feel better about myself.
Also, it'll make you cooler to rappers.
Yeah, totally. But I think these are like the first generation beats, like the like little ones that you put in your ears. They're not like the noise canceling iTunes. Oh yeah, you got a pair. Oh yeah, you got a pair. I feel special now. Yeah. So, but you guys, this is episode 9, and so we are talking booking today. And I'm not talking about running fast. Do you remember saying that word like growing up? Like, dude, that guy's booking.
I feel like I still use that.
Dude, that guy is
we got a book.
booking it. And so we're going to talk about booking today and how that all started for us and getting shows and kind of signing with, people, like handing that off, letting other people book our shows. And then, hopefully as we talk about that, we'll talk about some promoters. Now, a long time has gone by. I mean, I can only remember a handful of promoters. I could probably describe more than I actually know by name. But we'll talk about some and some of the places we played, whether good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah,
but
we had a lot of same places.
Yeah.
But some of them are still functional, which is great.
So who did your original booking?
Originally, so when we first started, it would just be us. People would call us, and we'd book with people who are like
no one specific. Like Brad could book a show, Keith could book a show.
I think it was Keith. Yeah, it could be anybody because I remember Brad booked a couple, Keith booked a couple. It would just be whoever.
Okay.
And then there were some promoters in town, and they would just call us. Say, hey, what are you guys doing this weekend? But once we got on 5 Minute Walk, it was Frank. Frank Tate, the owner, just took it over. And so he had previously been the manager of the Prayer Chain.
He was?
Yeah.
Frank Tate was a manager of the Prayer Chain?
Yes.
Because Tim Tabor from the Prayer Chain was our manager, and I never knew that.
It's crazy and incestuous. But
wow.
Yes. Yeah. So that was Frank's foray into music. And I think before that, he went to Oral Roberts University. He was already a millionaire when he went there. Dude, this is crazy. Frank is an orphan. So
really?
He was an orphan. He lived in the foster care system and made $1 million before he graduated from high school.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Let's get into that. How did he do this?
So this is the legend, is that Frank, Frank is very smart at just any day.
Could you imagine being his foster parents and like you're fostering this kid who's just making money hand over fist?
Yeah, or being anyone's parent where you're just like, well, I guess we're having Thanksgiving at your house.
Right.
Or we don't have to pay for college.
Jeez.
So he's good at looking at things and being like, here's what I would do to make that better or fix it or make it pay for itself. So he grows up in Walnut Creek, California, notices Walnut Creek is like a kind of uppity suburb, like East San Francisco Bay suburb. So San Francisco's uppity. It's got a couple nice suburbs that are on the peninsula. And then once you hit Oakland, it's ghetto.
Okay.
So you get to Walnut Creek. And then I don't want to say that now, but like when he was young, it was that way. Now it's like everything is too expensive. But so Walnut Creek, it's like in the hills. And it's pretty and a little bit uppity. So this is where he lived as a foster kid. And what he noticed was the gentlemen and ladies that were providing lawn care or those services were vastly, this is again going to come across as playfully racist. I'm not trying to be, and I'm not trying to further any stereotypes, but like Frank noticed that mostly it was Hispanic people. And Frank just said, well, these are upper class white people, middle to upper class white people. I wonder if I could get a bunch of my white friends from school. We could wear khakis and nice polos and do their yard work for twice as much. $1 million.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know what year in high school he started that, but he graduated as a millionaire. This is the myth, and I believe it to be true. So he went to
Holy
Oral
cow.
Roberts, and then to make money, he was like, I want to put on shows. So he's in Tulsa. It's the buckle of the Bible Belt. So they had a lot of Sandy Patties coming through and a lot of Gaither
Trio.
and stuff. Yeah, but like there was nobody putting on edgier rock stuff. And Frank had his money to put up, and he could pay for venues and figure out how to get somebody to run sound. And then he started putting on shows. And I guarantee you, there's probably some shows he lost money on, but I would say overall he probably walked away from college with another $1 million.
Oh my word.
And then managed the prayer chain, because probably they had come through and played, and Frank's a good guy, so he talked to him and found out they had crappy management or no management or a bad record deal, and then he just took them on.
Wow.
Yeah. So he managed them. And
That's
then
crazy.
when we went to 5 Minute Walk, he just took over our booking because we didn't have a booking agent. We didn't have a manager. We talked about this before. We didn't have a manager in Five Iron because there was too many of us.
No.
And we were okay at doing it ourselves. So we just never saw the point in paying somebody to do it. Like a good
I
manager
get that.
takes, like a great manager is like, hey, I know a guy who works for Conan O'Brien. I'll get you on there. I'll get you on Letterman. I know.
I'll get you endorsements.
Right. I know 300 DJs. I'll get them to play your record. They push you, and so for us, the people that were coming to us would be like, well, I can get you, this much a night and you play this church and this church and this church. And I'm like, we're already doing that and we're making twice that.
Yeah.
Or they'd be like, yeah, we'll get you an RV. And like, at what cost,
Yeah.
Like,
See, we were the opposite. We were like, we don't want to do that stuff. Like people like Nate. Well, we could go through the insiders when we get to that booking, but just as far as like management, we were like very bad at being professional.
yeah.
And so that was like, you guys are goofy. You guys are known as like a goofy band. But when it came down to like business practices, like you guys could flip the switch. And like you said, you guys could hammer out and you could make your own calls. For us, we had guys in the band that would do stuff so by the book. And when I mean by the book, I mean biblically, that we had guys in the band that like didn't want to make decisions because, we were, for instance, we were in a bad record contract. So we wanted to sue to get out of our contract. It wasn't, let me clarify. It wasn't that we were in a bad contract. The company that owned our contract went bankrupt.
Sure.
So we were like, all right, well, you went bankrupt. We're going to sign with another record company. And they were like, no, we'll sue you. Like, we still own your contract. And we're like, yeah, but you're not a company. This makes no sense. So we had a band member who he was like, no, the Bible says we don't sue our brothers.
Right.
So like that was like a hard stance that like he took. So it was like weeks and weeks of like trying to be like, hey man, like here's the deal. Like this isn't biblical times. This isn't like these are different times. And so it calls for like different measures.
Did you sue them?
Yes.
Or did you just get a lawyer that was like, here's where you breached the contract?
No.
Let them out.
No.
Oh, wow.
So we got, so basically we got Tim Tabor as our manager. We got lawyers in like Nashville, I believe, and they started going through everything. And then as our lawsuit was moving forward, that's when KMG swept in. And KMG swept in and was like, listen, we're going to buy out Gumshoe. We're going to buy out Gumshoe's catalog. We're going to buy out your contract. But to do that, drop the lawsuit. So we were like, oh, okay. Like it was that simple. So yes, all we want to do is make albums. So whether it says Gumshoe,
abuse the words of St. Paul.
Correct.
Good job.
Yeah. So, but like that was our problem. Is so we had guys in the band that were like wanted to live by like old school like Judaic law or whatever, and then we had other guys that like Kyle, who our guitar player was like so aloof, and he was so like a don't tread on me, introvert, that like his decisions were like based solely on him and not at, so when it came time for like the band and we were like, hey, I think we're going to get insurance for the band. Like, everyone will have health care. He was like, yeah.
You got that?
Yeah.
That's freaking awesome. Man.
Yeah. So we were like, let's do a healthcare thing. And a friend of ours who was like in that industry. So we were like looking through like our options of like, well, how much are we going to pay? What do we need? What kind of coverage? And then like Kyle was like, no, I don't want to do it. Just give me that money. And then if something ever happens to me, you know what I mean? Like I would rather pocket that money. And then if something happens to me in the future, I'll figure it out. Whereas the rest of us are like, no, I kind of want insurance.
Sure.
So it was always something like that. So what we needed is we had so many different personalities that were coming from so many different angles. We weren't a unified, we've never been, even to this day, we're not a unified front. Each guy in the band like has their own set. I don't want to say same set of beliefs. I mean, every guy who's in the Insiders was still a believer, but it's how they come at that and what topics you talk about. They may, we all differ kind of on different topics.
Yeah.
But everyone believes in Christ. And so that's where we needed a manager. We needed someone to come in and be like, okay, I understand. I hear what you're saying there, but for the band, this makes sense. And it was kind of that outside, personality that each one of us believed in. So like Tim Tabor was that guy that we believed in, where we could say, if he's telling me this is the way it should be, I maybe need to rethink that. Like if I have 6 band members that are fighting me on this, but I feel like I'm taking a stand on something, maybe that manager needs to tell me like, this isn't where you need to take the stand. And so that's what Tim did for us. Is like Tim kind of took all these type A personalities and said, I understand what you're saying there, but for the band and for this ministry, that's not like, I mean, in blunt words, like that's not right. Like maybe you can do that on your own. And when you're making decisions for your family, like you could stick by that. But this is a ministry and this is a business and this is a band and you can't take that stance here. And so we needed him to do that stuff because we were too dumb.
No, it's not because you're too dumb. I think most bands, especially if you have 7 or 8 or 9 people in your band, you need that. At least somebody in your band has to do it, or you need a manager.
Yeah.
In our band, we had Keith, who was just this great. He was really good at just at being a neutral kind of diffuser. Not really like he didn't really diffuse it, but he would just kind of get everybody like to calm down. So like Dennis and Scott and I, who would get really emotional about stuff, he would just be like, okay, well, we can talk about that, later. Or what you're saying is this. Let's focus on this first, and then we'll get to that. Not that it's not important, and he was great for that. So now we're together again, and we've all kind of mellowed out because we're adults and we have kids and jobs and families. We still sometimes, I don't want to say sometimes, all the time could use Keith.
Yeah.
But
like even in your day to day.
Yeah.
Like you just need, like right now, it'd be great if Keith was just sitting there and we could like go to him.
Totally.
Yeah. In our band, it was Nate. Like Nate was the leader of the insiders. And so when it came to early on bookings, like it was none of us. I think occasionally someone would be like, "Hey, a guy I know asked if we could play this," or, my church asked me if we could do a set like on Sunday morning, do like a couple praise and worship songs, something. So every now and then, like somebody would, but we would go to Nate. So we would say, we wouldn't just tell the guys, "Hey, I booked a show at this church." We would go to Nate and we would say, "Hey, this guy asked me about this." And then Nate would call that person and like set the show up. But Nate did all of it. When we started, he was calling people, this is back before cell phones. And I mean, he was just burning up phone lines, wherever he was. If he came over to my house, "Hey, can I use your phone?" He's calling people and excuse me, like he hit it hard. So Nate was our first booking agent and, kind of for the local stuff.
Yeah.
And he did
And
great.
manager.
Yeah. And then what we did is he would book around here and we got a couple outside gigs. We got some in Milwaukee and Cleveland and Chicago. And then the scene started getting like huge here in Detroit. And I think I've talked about this on prior podcasts, but this guy named Tony Weatherly, who recently passed away. And I know he impacted a lot of people in the Christian music scene that came through the Detroit area.
Yeah, all of us for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And so Tony and his wife Linda, they started this club called the Fringe out of a church, and this club it was that right time. It was that 90s Christian scene that happened at the right time, and he started bringing bands. The first one I ever went and saw was Plank Eye and 7 Day Jesus on tour. I'm sorry, I take that back. I went and saw Strong Arm and Zayo.
Yeah.
And then at the Strong Arm and Zayo show, I got the flyer for Plank Eye and 7 Day Jesus. And then we would see the shows go from, I mean, honestly, I think the 7 Day Jesus, the Zayo show, Strong Arm, I mean, I think there was 12 kids there. And like me and Nate.
What?
Yeah, I think like me and Nate were two of them. And
I think if you advertise that now, there'd be thousands of people.
yeah, I agree
You
with
see
you.
Strong Arm and Zayo?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Jeez.
And so there was like 12 of us there. And then I get the flyer for Plank Eye and 7 Day Jesus. And we go there. And then there's like 40 people.
Uh-huh.
And then Nate started talking to Tony. And he's like, "Hey, we got this, it's got the ska band." And finally, like Tony let us play or like open for someone. And boom, it hit. And that's where I think we talked about this like in a prior one. Like that's where we started getting bigger. And then I'm standing in line to like get in to see the Lost Dogs, and standing in line and I'm getting like waved up like, no, you're the lead singer of the Insiders, come on in. And like at that point, it was like the Insiders became almost the house band for this club called the Fringe. And Tony, he was in charge of all that. And so then Tony became our first like manager / booking agent. And he kind of took that over from Nate. Nate was then able to concentrate more on the band and practice and, just life, because Tony was now using his connections across the country with his buddies that were promoters. And we went from like playing Detroit, Cleveland, Chicago, Milwaukee, just that circuit over and over, to like, then we're playing Indianapolis and we're playing Louisville, and we kind of branched out from there. What point were you guys still booking? Like, was Keith still doing the booking when you guys were doing that? Or did you guys move out when it went to 5 Minute Walk?
Yeah. Once we hit 5 Minute Walk was when we moved out. We had played shows. We had played just through people contacting us and Keith doing the booking all over Colorado. A couple Wyoming shows, Albuquerque. I think we had played in LA. Yeah, I think I talked about this. We went out with, and it was just bands we were friends with. So like we were friends with crud. What is this band? It wasn't the Skeletones. Somebody had tipped us off a place to play in Tempe, Arizona. So we played out there, and we played in LA because we were friends with this band Meal Ticket. We ended up playing the CD release party for Save Ferris.
Okay.
And then, like probably 2 months later, 3 months later, we were signed. And then by the time Frank was booking us, like I think we played Denver. Our album had not come out, but there was 2 of our songs on a 5-Minute Walk sampler. So we played Denver. And then the next show was the New Earth Coffee House in Kansas City, which I'm sure you've played. It was that old church.
Yep.
So cool. In the basement of that old church.
Yeah, that's where I met Khalees.
Yes.
That's where Khalees was, and had a great friendship with her. And she was one of those. Again, you just talk about going to different cities, and in fact, we've talked about her on past podcasts. Khalees, dude. Like, chill out. You're getting into too many conversations here on the podcast. This is becoming about you.
Stop it.
It's becoming about you.
I'm Facebook friends with her. She just moved back to Kansas City.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
I don't think I am friends with her because I think I told you I was an absolute jerk to her.
I will tell her
And
to
ruined
listen
it.
to the podcast. I mean,
Yes.
the Diabolical Brainwashing Machine.
Yes.
And then she will realize that she harbors no ill feelings about you. And
Or the opposite. Then it confirms, and then she hates me even more.
I don't think she's not a hateful person. She's very
But she kind of became one of those people like that. She wasn't in a band, but she was always associated with bands. And
Yeah.
I mean, at Cornerstone, she sang with us on stage, and she
Yeah.
became like a, like it's like the word that wants to come out of my mouth is groupie, but that's not. You understand? Like that's not what I'm saying. Like she wasn't a groupie, but she was one of those people that were like plugged in with like every band that came through Kansas City. And she was such an amazing person that like even the bands, like if you played within 3 hours of Kansas City, you knew the Khalees would be there. And so we knew like when we were coming through, are we playing Kansas City? Yeah. Are we playing St. Louis or, whatever the case may be. We knew that we could look out in the audience and Khalees would be there. And then she would show up early and like hang out with the bands and stuff. It was awesome. Like she was an awesome person. And I ruined that and destroyed that because I was a young idiot.
terrible.
Yeah. So Kansas City was the first thing, your first gig that you got out from like your normal circuit.
Right. So it was the first one, I think, outside of there that Frank had booked. And we were just impressed to be playing in Kansas City, and it was packed. It was sold out. We only had 2 songs out, which is insane, and we were headlining. So I don't remember who opened for us, but we were just like, this is going very well. We got in. It was already like ceiling was dripping sweat because it was so humid and people were
that was a hot place to play.
Yeah. And so we were like, we're going to start playing a Flowery song because this is what we're going to, this is out on the sampler and people know it. So we played it as our first song. And all of a sudden, like, you couldn't hear me singing because the crowd was singing so loud.
Nice.
And I just remember turning to Keith and Scott, and they almost stopped playing. Like, they were flipping out so bad. They were just like, what is happening? How do these people know this song? And ever since then, people have known my songs better than I have.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but man, it was cool. And then like that whole tour was kind of like that. And it was just, I think Frank did the booking for the other bands that were on 5-Minute Walk. So it was Model Engine, which was Black Eyed Siva at the time, and then Dime Store Prophets.
Oh yeah,
and 7 Day Jesus and us.
Yeah, see,
there was
all
one
those bands used to come through the Fringe, like before the Insiders were big. Like we were seeing Dime Store Prophets, we were seeing Black Eyed Siva, like all those guys.
Yeah, Frank he I mean, his business model, for being as good of a businessman as he is, like his model of just picking bands based on how he felt their heart was, or like what kind of people they were, it should have failed, but it did okay, and it was really good being on that label.
Yeah,
just
I mean,
talking to you, we complained about it tons, but just hearing your stories of being on all the labels that you were on
Yeah.
really makes me thankful for
Oh,
Frank Tate and
absolutely.
for that
You
walk.
guys were. I mean, we've talked before. Like I always, I'm one of those people that I wish I would have been on Tooth and Nail, or at least been able to do a couple of albums on Tooth and Nail. I mean, in the same sense that like I wish I could have been on Epitaph or
Yeah.
Fat Records, to be able to do an album here, just to be able to say that you were. And 5 Minute Walk was always one of those. Like they were one of the. We always thought that you were extremely lucky. No, nobody ever said anything bad about 5 Minute Walk. I've never heard 5 Minute Walk bands like nothing. Even the stuff that you were like, I can't think off the top of my head, but even if what you just said, where you've complained a few times, again, your complaints are nothing compared to like what we went through. And
Yeah.
we just had crummy deal after crummy deal after crummy deal. And then we get like Tim Tabor, and Tim's trying to like help us through all of this. And there were times where we're like, no, Tim, you work for us. This is the decision we're making. And he's like,
Okay.
all right, like I work for you guys. That's what we'll do. And then it would like come out that we, signed the wrong deal, that we went with the wrong, label or whatever the case may be. And then a lot of stuff we were just locked in contractually anyway. And Tim couldn't really help us in those situations, but he was still like the best manager in those situations. But yeah, man, I look at bands and I'm like, I would have loved to have been, the Supertones, where you're on Tooth and Nail, and then you go to, what was the other one, Cerebellum or something?
Yeah, Cerebellum was still 5 Minute Walk, I think.
Oh, yeah, Cerebellum was 5 Minute. What was the other
So-
Tooth and Nail?
The other Tooth and Nail labels?
Yeah. What was the one that Supertones went to?
BEC.
There you go. BEC Recordings, yeah.
I don't know if they got different distribution, or they're just trying to branch out to like reach a wider audience,
Yeah.
because they had Solid State for their metal stuff,
Yep.
they have Uprock for rap,
Oh, I didn't know
and
about
there
that.
was one like Plastic Music for for synth stuff, like Ronnie Martin.
Okay.
It's a Plastic Music. And then they had BEC, which was more of their mainstream thing, and then Tooth and Nail was like the edgy alternative one.
Yeah. Like I would have killed to have been like the Supertones that were on Tooth and Nail and then BEC, and then they just cruised that their like whole career. And then same with
Yeah.
you guys. You guys didn't you guys do a release on Asian Man, or was that a split 7-inch?
It was just a 7-inch because we were
Okay.
friends with Mike Park. But I
Okay.
can tell you, so as much as you're glorifying Tooth and Nail, and I don't want to talk crap about them, because I've been on Tooth and Nail twice. We did the second Brave Saint Saturn album on Tooth and Nail, and then our last Engine of a Million Plots, the last 5 Minute album, was distributed by Tooth and Nail.
Really? I
And
didn't know that.
yeah, so Tooth and Nail is a great company, really great people, but I just don't think they had the resources to push all their bands. So
No,
what they did was just
Yeah.
sign so many bands, because they had it automatically. They had producers. They had like Aaron Sprinkle that could produce everything and record everything for like a set price, and it was cheap. So they could just crank out albums and recoup that.
No, I
And-
agree with you. I think where my ego takes over, and I'm not
Yeah.
a very egotistical person at all, but I think when it came to the Insiders, I was so proud of the musicians that I played with.
Yeah,
Like
you guys were great.
Like
You should have been proud.
Yeah, I was not like, I was garbage. Like I couldn't sing. My lyrics are not deep. They're not
true.
anything, like not good.
That's not true.
But I played with amazing musicians. If they would have had a better singer songwriter, they could have been amazing. But back to the thing with Tooth and Nail, I think when you pump out a bunch of bands, you sign them and you pump them out. I think that's where it comes down to the band And if the band is worth their weight in, in salt or whatever the term is, I think the cream rises to the top. And that's where I think that, like, if the Insiders would have been on Tooth and Nail, that's where my ego takes over. And I'm like, well, we were a good ska band, not great, but we were a good ska band. And we had a great work ethic. We were great musicians, again, minus me. And I think if we would have had the strength of that backing, that's where I think, like, we could have stood out on a Tooth and Nail or a 5 Minute Walk.
Right.
I think we could have, I think we could have made a better impact in the scene, but we're always on these, like, stupid record labels, these crappy record labels that, we're just looking to make $1 and, we'll get the ska band and we'll do this and we'll do this. And then how they market us and then how we want to write songs. And they're telling us that we can't, it's stupid stuff. Hey, Pickle Peeps, if you are looking to support the show with a little bit of swag, a little bit of, oomph in your community, you can go to our Bonfire site. You go to bonfire.com, put in the search Pickle and Boot Shop, and we have various styles of shirts that you can pick on different kinds of shirts. I think that's the way the site works, is I think you can get it put on like a hoodie, or you can get it put, I think that's how it works. But anyway, we have a bunch of shirts on there, different prices, things like that. So check us out, order that stuff. Help us rep the show. Tell others about it. And again, that's bonfire.com and Pickle and Boot Shop.
So, like, on 5 Minute Walk, our experience was that we, I'm sure if you talk to Drive or Model Engine, some of the other bands, the Echoing Green, that were like on 5 Minute Walk, we were paying the bills because ska was big and we were selling albums. So we got a lot of attention, and it wasn't like we had a huge label with a ton of bands, but like far and above, Five Iron was paying the bills. So we got a lot more attention than the other bands. And I know from talking to those guys that some of them resented it. And so for me, being on the other side of that, signing Braid St. Saturn to do our second album, To Tooth and Nail, absolutely. Like, I wanted that album to be huge. I wanted people to be like, man, this is really good lyrics, and love these songs, and it would just get big, and Tooth and Nail would kind of foster that. But Tooth and Nail wasn't like that. They didn't have the equipment. So they would just sign bands, and if some bands started rising up to the top, like if by some chance the band was doing well, they had enough resources to invest in that. But otherwise, they just hoped you'd recoup and do most of the work by yourself. So, like, for Brave Saint, we played maybe 4 festivals. It was it. It was, if I was a better musician, I think Keith and Andy and Dennis could have pulled it off. Like, we would just be like, yeah, do you want us to play the show? Yeah, of course, we'll do that. But I'm not very good at playing guitar, and we were playing to tracks. We had to play to a click, all these things that are weird if you're not practicing all the time.
Yeah.
So ended up.
Oh, go on.
What? No, it just ended up being really hard to do. And so, like, for that model for Tooth and Nail, where they needed you to prove that you were going to sell some records before they were going to invest some time in you.
I think that's the Detroit in me. Like, I think that's the Detroit blue collar. You pack your lunch and you go to work and you knock out a 10-hour workday.
Yeah.
And, and you come home and there's not a whole lot to show for it, but you get up and you bust your hump to do it again the next day. That's like, to me, that's like a business model that, like, appeals to me, because, like I said, maybe it's my ego in me, maybe it's the Detroit in me, but, like, I would have loved to have done that. Like, hey, sign us, and we are going to bust our hump, and we are going to do this stuff, and we are going to, whereas on these other labels, it was like we were, I mean, I know I'm being so dramatic, but it's like we're like the caged lion we just want to be like, let us go. Like, let us go as fast and as far as we can go, and just let us do us. Like, you know, we're young 20-year-olds, like full of piss and vinegar. We want to change the world and we want to spread the gospel. Just let us go. But we were always on these labels that were like, that caged us. And they were like, hey, this is our lion in this cage. Like, everybody look at it. Like, all you 55-year-olds in Nashville, look at what we got at our label. It's like, dude, just let us go. So that's where, you know, because of what we experienced, that's why something like Tooth and Nail like appeals to me. I would have just loved to have said, you handle that end and we'll handle just trying to be the next Supertones, trying to be the next Five Iron Frenzy.
What about when you were on Squint? Did you get more support, or? Squint
was one of the greatest labels I've ever been on. Like, Transparent, like Tim Tabor, he eventually, like, so he was our manager. And then in like 2005, when we were like, we're going to come back, we're going to come out of the shadows, and we're going to do Soundtrack to a Revolution. He was like, oh, I'll put it on my label. And he did it for us. He put it out, distributed it, all that stuff. I mean, I don't think it did great. I don't think he told us right off the rip. He's like, if you're not going to be touring on this album, I'm not dumping money into it. So like, what you sell is what you sell.
Yeah.
And at that point, we weren't that cage lion anymore. At that point, we all had jobs, but we had this like little creative, you know, push within us that we were like, hey, how about we do this album? And so he put it out for us. I'm guessing we probably recouped our money, you know, nothing more. You know, but again, we just wanted the album out. We just wanted to be able to do it. And so he was like, man, if you're not touring on this, I'm not dumping a dime into it. But I appreciate the honesty, and it was what it was. And I think we put out a great album. But Squint was an album where Steve Taylor, for those of you that don't know, you know, Christian music, you know, legend, Steve Taylor.
You should know Steve Taylor.
Yeah, you should.
You should look him up and listen to his stuff.
Yes. So Steve Taylor was given like his own division of a record label, and I forget. Yeah, Forefront. And so he puts out Squint, and he liked us, and he approached us about, you know, coming to Squint, and we were involved in this crummy like lawsuit and litigation and stuff like that about that contract that I talked about, where we didn't have a record label. Like, they had gone bankrupt. They weren't doing anything, yet they weren't releasing us from our contract. So somehow Steve Taylor, I still don't know how all this works. Steve Taylor somehow was able to talk to whoever owned Gumshoe and say, and then I think KMG was buying it, but so they were like able to go to like KMG and say, hey, could we get the insiders for one album? Just a one album release. You guys aren't ready to put out an album. We don't want their momentum to die. So let us put out this album, and then when all this is done with you guys, then you can put out their next album, and they'll probably be ready to put out an album at that point. So that's what KMG did. KMG Gumshoe, they allowed us to do one album with Squint. And so that was our Scalleluja album. And it was amazing. It was, not only did we feel like we were part of like a real record label, like we felt like we were part of like a wealthy label that like had all the tools in their tool belt. And like, I just remember like Steve Taylor, nobody had ever done this with me. Steve Taylor was like, I want you to go through all your lyrics that are going to be on this album with me. And so I remember like going through the lyrics, and he's like, no, you can get more passion into that. Like, you can change those lyrics. I want you to think. And now that I'm thinking about this, like Scalleluja was an album of covers, right? Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. So Scalleluja was an album of covers. Yeah. And so there wasn't like a whole lot of, you know, us changing lyrics and writing songs. But during this process, we're writing we were also writing at the time Fight of My Life, which was going to be our next album, which was going to be on KMG. And like Steve Taylor sat down with me and had me tell him, like, read off all the lyrics for our Fight of My Life album. And then here's one of the best, again, like Christian lyricists, most creative, most
so
amazing
jealous
people.
right now, man.
Yeah. And so he's like going through all this stuff and he's like, you can do this better. You can describe this better. Like in one of our songs, Paradise, I'm describing what would be like an amazing day, like the perfect day. And what I had was like garbage. It was like nothing. Like that's somebody's day every single day. Like that's a 5 out of 10 day.
Okay.
And he's like, I want you to give me more. Like I want you to sing about waking up and like having a bird land on your finger and like dolphins jumping next to you and, you know, just go over the top. And so then like I would do like a little bit more and then he'd be like, no, you got to do the. And so he was constantly pushing me to write better lyrics, to do those things. No other label did that. And then here we are and we're listening to him talk about how he's about to start production for Blue Like Jazz.
Yeah.
And like all these different things. And then he's signing Sixpence None the Richer and they're doing amazing. And Burlap to Cashmere and they're doing amazing. And then you start to feel that confidence in yourself. You're like, this guy is signing bands that everything he signs turns to gold. Then he signs Chevelle.
Yeah.
It's like everything he signs turns to gold, and we're one of those bands that he signed. Like he saw in us what he saw in Sixpence. He saw in us, we saw in Burlap to Cashmere. And then you get that confidence that like these guys are behind us. Whereas with Gumshoe, you know, it's fighting with a dying label. It's just, you know, so that's what Squint was. So Squint was like it was like a kid. I mean, it was just like a kid being able to go and you had a week that you had a month that you could spend at Disney World and you had free passes and you had everything and you had meal tickets and you could spend a month at Disney World. And then after that, you never get to go back to Disney World. You get to go to like country fairs and you get to go to like, you know, the carnival that comes through town on, you know, with the carnies and stuff like that. That's what our labels were. Like Squint was Disney World, hopper passes, meal tickets, and then
plus
everything else.
No, man, you got Steve Taylor sitting down helping you with lyrics. Like I have literally sat with Steve Taylor lyrics just trying to write songs. Like if you crap, what's the last song on? I don't even know. It's the last song on The End Is Here. I literally sat with Steve Taylor's song, The Finish Line, and ripped it off just to write those lyrics. He's such a good lyricist.
Yeah.
Possibly one of the greatest of all time.
Yep.
On Distant Shores is the name of our song. And it was a ripoff of The Finish Line by Steve Taylor. He's so brilliant. And I remember this. I did that poetry tour with Aaron from Dear Ephesus and Mike Lewis and Nate. And when we got to Nashville, Nate calls Steve Taylor and he's like, hey man, I'm in town for just a little bit. I got to go hang out with Steve, meet him. I had never met him before. Like, he's from Denver. Actually, I had met him at shows, but like never met him as like, hey, I'm in this band. And so he knew who I was. It was super cool for me. And he was just like, what are you guys doing tonight? And we're like, I don't know. He gave us all tickets to go see the Predators, like to go see the Nashville Predators. It was like their first year being a hockey team. It was so cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
So cool. And also we were like, why can't we be on this label?
Oh man. Yeah, that it was so much fun. Like that label, you just felt like you were like a part of something. You felt like they knew, like everybody knew what was going on. But again, I've said it a million times, we were the kiss of death. And so they had us on the label and they ended up, you know, they survived quite a bit longer and it was probably more of a...
They had Chevelle and Sixpence. They had there had to be some fortune in that. At
Yeah.
least just selling them off to other labels.
Yeah, and I think Squint did what Squint was supposed to do. So I think the Forefront gave Steve Taylor like a label to say, here, use this as your next medium of art. And he kind of took these few bands and he did it, and anything he touches turns to gold. So he succeeded with that. So then it was like, okay, I took these 5 bands and like made them great and made these amazing albums, and then we won Dove Awards and you know, all that stuff, and then he was like, okay, well, now I'm going to do movies.
Yeah.
And so
That's
then
what
when
he went to school for.
yeah, so then when he started doing his movies, it was, I don't think Squint closing its doors was like a bankruptcy thing. I think it was a calculated move. I think it was like, okay, we've done this, we've accomplished this. And moving forward, I don't think we're going to be signing new bands and stuff like that. So I think they were just, you know what, when these contracts are up, we're done. And I think that's what they did. Like, I don't think they ever had like a big stable of artists. I think they had a handful. And as our contracts expired, obviously we only had a 1 record thing. So
Yeah.
we basically did like a year of promotion for them, and then we were done. And then as the other ones kind of ended in 2 years, 3 years, you know, they didn't re-sign Sixpence. Obviously, Chevelle went elsewhere. They sold Chevelle. And yeah, and then I think he just went on to movies. So I don't think I don't think Squint was a failure. I think it was a huge success and just another, we conquered this. Let's move on to the next thing.
And not another label that you murdered.
Yeah, exactly. But then we went on to the next one, KMG, and we murdered it.
Yeah. Do you want to be on my pretend label, Department of Biophysics?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we'll put out our next album on that. So I want to ask you something. I was going to ask you earlier. I started to say it, and then I realized I was interrupting you.
This is what we do.
Yeah. Are you ever going to do another Brave Saint Saturn album?
I don't.
Brave
wanna
Saint
say
Saturn is
no.
one of my favorite bands of all time. Like your first
Damn it,
Brave
Joe,
Saint
don't
Saturn,
do that.
like Estrella, Baby's Breath, like those are like classic on my playlists. So like I have a playlist called Chill, right? It's just got a bunch of songs that if you just want to
called Hot Garbage.
yeah, exactly. Then I have another one called Screaming Butthole. But I have on my Chill. I mean, it's like Simon and Garfunkel. It's Brave Saint Saturn. You know what I mean? Like I put that band. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't put like Five Iron there. Like Five Iron's a fun band. Like you guys have, you know, a few songs off every album that I love. I love you guys as people. I love your stage show.
I don't listen to Five Iron. I don't blame you.
You know, but like your Roper, like the Roper CD, I liked that. It was good. You had some good songs on there. But like that Brave Saint Saturn, that first Brave Saint Saturn, I mean, that to me, that's just class. I wish I could get it in vinyl.
You know, it's funny. I can't do it on vinyl because I don't own the rights. I've got the tapes to it in the basement here.
Oh, really?
But yeah, Tooth and Nail still has it.
Oh, well,
So Tooth and Nail
they
sold
need
it
to
to
do it.
Capitol. It was CMG, which bought out Forefront, and then Capitol bought them.
Really?
So they have that. They bought all the old Tooth and Nail catalog.
Well, let's save some money. Let's do a Kickstarter.
Kickstarter, so I
buy
can buy
your tapes. So
buy my
and then by
tapes.
buying the tapes, they get the vinyl.
Yeah, I've thought about just doing it. Like, who's gonna stop me? I'll like sell what 1,000? Are they gonna find out?
Yeah, sell 1,000. You'll get a cease and desist. And okay,
My
what you're
wife's
going to sue me?
already. She already wants to divorce me, so I don't need that. I don't need to put that stress on her.
Yeah, maybe you do. Maybe you do.
Maybe I do.
Hey,
Correct.
buddy, I'm just saying, if it ever
Hey.
goes south, we can buy a house. Me and you,
All right.
buddy. The Pickle and
All
Boot
right.
Shop.
Pickle and boot shop in the front, business in the rear.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
So yeah, I don't know. I've thought about it because I enjoyed writing that stuff. It's just hard to do
Because isn't that still what you're doing? Like you're still writing like synthy.
Yes, exactly. So the project I'm doing now is that it's like Brave St. Saturn heavy, but minus a lot of the acoustic stuff. Like Brave St. Saturn, I would start out writing on guitar, and then just I'm not very good at guitar, so I would just add in like 100 different instruments I could program. Like, you know what sound good is glockenspiel, or instead of a bass, piano. And I would just make songs that way. And now I'm writing for this new project, Heart Wrench. It's just, there's no guitar because I haven't played guitar forever. I suck at it, and I had to realize that. So it's all synths, all programmed drums and stuff. I think Ethan Luck is going to end up playing some guitar on it, so it
Nice.
gives it some legitimacy. But I don't know. Also, it's new wave. Like it's super 80s influenced.
Yeah. Well, if you need a punk style bassist, like just do 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 do, I'm in.
Okay. I have a song that, yes, I think I do.
I'll come on stage. I'll tour with you guys. Come on stage for one song.
This is what I love about it. So in Brave St. Saturn, what made it hard was I would write most of the stuff, but then I had to go to Keith and Andy and Dennis for legitimacy and be like, okay, what do you guys think of this? And they'd kind of add their own flavor in, and it would make it a better thing. And Dennis would do a couple songs, and he's a really good songwriter, so it would be good. And we kind of push each other. But mostly it was just me, and then me kind of having to present it to everybody and get their approval. And we don't, like, I live in the middle of nowhere in Virginia. I can't do that, you know? And so for me to write a Brave St. Saturn album, I guess I could do it by mailing MP3s back and forth, but it would just be very difficult.
Yeah.
Just because of geography. So I think that's mostly what's keeping it from happening.
Oh, that's too bad.
And you know, it was a trilogy, so it was like the story, and then what do you do after that? And where do you do I make another story? Thought about it. Andy had some good ideas. He had a good idea about like it's in the future, all the people are dead, and it's robots writing, and they're learning how to feel, and they discover the old Brave St. Saturn mission tapes or something. He thought it sounded way better when he said it. But
no, that sounds cool to me. Like that sounds great.
That's great.
That sounds great more for like a long play like video. You know what I mean? Almost even if it's just one song, like a 7-minute song where that all takes place, and you're watching this video, whether it be cartoon or
cool.
You know, flash animation or whatever.
Flashing people.
Flashing, yeah, just
the video of flashing people.
Just bat winging people.
Flash dancing.
Yeah.
Wait, what is bat winging?
Bat winging is where you take your testicles and the skin and you pull it so it looks like a bat wing.
I just want to say that. Joe and I still consider ourselves to be Christians.
I'm sure Jesus and his disciples were screwing around doing that stuff.
I'm sure that
hey, look at this. One guy's bent over with his nuts back, bulldogging him.
They're looking in the book and they're like, well, Christ did die for this. He's bat winging. It's in the list.
It's in there.
All right.
It's in there.
Fine.
We got to do it.
Dude, I don't want to put too much information out there, but how much of Andy's junk did you see on tour? Like he is very pro at testicle contortion.
I can't think of a time that I did.
Oh, man.
I can't think of a time that I did. There was one major male nudity episode that I experienced on tour,
With Lou.
and that was with Lou. Yeah. So, we were all a part of that. So I was in a hotel room with, 16 naked dudes, which was kind of weird, just because it literally happened. Well, here's the deal. I lucked out on it. I was fully clothed because I was the
go
guy.
In and just talk to them.
You weren't there?
No, I was there.
I was gonna say, I thought you guys were there.
And messed with him. You tell the story.
Yes. So I was like fully clothed. So I was like the decoy. And so I went and got Lou and I was like, hey, come up to the hotel room, blah, 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 blah. So I went and got him and I was like, yeah, I think we got pizza and stuff like that. So I go and get Lou from Dear Ephesus and we go back to the hotel room and he had no clue that because he had talked about being like,
yeah. He was afraid of naked men, which is a good, healthy fear for anyone. Straight people, gay people,
it is a
women,
strong,
men, kids, priests, anybody. Be afraid of naked men.
Let's think about this.
Yeah.
If a woman, any age, any body shape, streaks by your office building, you're looking out the window, and a woman streaks by, everyone's like, dang, like some girl just ran by here naked.
Yeah.
If a dude, any body shape, CrossFitter, 12-pack abs, runs by, everyone goes, oh, gross. Like, it doesn't matter how good looking you are.
Yes.
Like male nudity is it's just nasty.
Yeah. The human female is quite possibly the most beautiful thing God has ever made. The human male, not even close. Especially most of us, we're not good looking.
Not even close.
Not at all.
No.
So Lou has
I was the decoy.
His fear.
Yep. So I go and get Lou, and I'm like, yep. So he trusts me, and I take him back up to the hotel room. I open the door. We walk in, and everybody's hiding, and there's like 15, 16 naked dudes. Like, just everyone took their clothes off. Like, even saying this is so ridiculous, but we were 20, 21, and we thought we were freaking hilarious. So he walks in. So I shut the door and like lock it so he can't get out. And everybody like pops up because they had been like hiding behind the bed, and they were in the bathroom. So he gets in the pizza box is there. He goes over to like grab a slice, and everyone jumps up and everyone's naked and everyone's jumping around him and like slapping him and stuff like that. And he is like, he just curled up and like you see in the movies, he like curled up, was like on the floor in the fetal position, like against the wall. And he just like wanted to wash the dirty off. It was not good. No. And then here I am, so like fully clothed in a room with all naked dudes thinking it was hilarious.
Yeah.
My, how times have changed.
Yeah, now you're like, if I could just be in a room full of naked dudes.
Now I was like, man, I wish it would have been the Halo friendlies.
Yeah.
That would have been much better.
Not me. I want to be back in that room full of naked dudes.
Yeah, I want to be in there with the gospel gangsters. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Halo friendlies would have been my first choice for that scenario, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was the Insiders and Dear Ephesus, and I think Squad 5-0.
No, it was us. We were there.
Oh, and you guys, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Wonderful times.
Yes. I see. I've even blocked it out. I've blocked out that whole, like what I saw.
We gotta have Lou on and have him recount.
Yeah. We could do a whole entire episode about Lou.
Yeah.
Like how he couldn't poop. Like Did you ever hear that or know that?
No, I did not.
Like Lou could not poop in, when I say public, I mean away from his home. He
Wow.
would go on a 2-week tour and he wouldn't poop. And
That's
so
really not healthy.
yeah, so like the insiders, we took like, I want to say Dear Ephesus went out on like, I want to say their first few tours with us. I think we took them out on their first tour. And so Lou comes out and he had to, in order for him to use the bathroom, he had to be in the hotel, like in his bathroom, in his hotel room. But everybody else who was in that room as well had to leave. And like just give him peace and space. Like the door meant nothing. And so the whole
You must have
band,
been an only child. That's the
yeah,
only
like
way.
like the whole
With a
band would
door
have to
open,
like,
talking to people.
yeah, they'd
Yeah.
all be in like the lobby or they'd be in like our room and for like an hour because he would be up there like trying to poop. It
After
was,
he's held it in and he's got impaction.
yeah, exactly.
Really good.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the free portion of the Pickle and Boot podcast, a brainwashing, diabolical brainwashing machine. Reese is going to tell you what to do if you want to become a Patreon subscriber. So, Reese, take it away.
Yeah. As far as I know, you just go to the Patreon website and then you type in the Pickle and Boot Shop. That's how most people have found us. We had 5 new Patreons this week: Brock Dittis, David Swan, Willer Clowns, Steven Seberg, and Daniel Rock. I want to say thanks to all you guys for sponsoring us. And you can also find us on Twitter at capital P, capital B, Oot Shop. We have a Gmail account. It's the Pickle and Boot Shop at gmail.com. I check it probably once a month. Yeah. And we have a Facebook page, the Pickle and Boot Shop. You can reach us on there. We're trying to get better about putting content up.
Yeah, and I was contacted by, let me call him out. I was contacted by Stephen Ray. Stephen Ray is one of our listeners. And Stephen said he wanted us to get an Instagram account up and running. And I told him right now, I have a personal Instagram account. And then I do one for my other podcast called The Average Jerks. And so I told him, I said, I haven't gotten around to doing it for this one because it's a third Instagram account that we would be running. But I understand it's part of the package. It's part of 2021. It's part of branding. It's part of all that. So hopefully in the next little bit, we'll have an Instagram up and running where
we'll
Reese and I will
interns loose on it.
Yeah, and like we can, we'll be posting pictures. I mean, I don't know. Here's the thing, Steven. I don't know what we would post pictures of. Reese and I aren't together on the regular. I'm in Michigan. He's in Virginia.
I keep taking screenshots of us doing our.
Yeah, I mean, right. That's the thing. We like every now and then we'll take a picture of us like recording. But other than that, yeah.
Or your Fidrich jersey.
My Fidrich jersey. Yeah.
Fidrich.
Yeah. So like maybe if we were going to be talking about a topic, we could post a picture about something we were talking about or we talked about Tony Weatherly today in Detroit and he just passed away. Maybe we could post a picture of Tony so you guys know what him and his family look like. But I guess we'll try and do something. But it's tough. We have normal jobs and then just doing this and doing all sorts of stuff, trying to do albums, trying to get a microphone company going.
Masturbating, all the things that keep us busy.
All the things that we put a premium on. So you guys, so if you like what you just got in the free stuff, again, look at doing the subscription. If you don't want to, that is okay. We understand. We completely understand. I wouldn't, I don't pay for subscriptions through Patreon because I don't have that extra scratch. So it's okay if you don't. What I would ask is if you don't want to be a Patreon, subscriber, could you at least go to Apple, like iTunes podcast? Could you go to Spotify, wherever you're listening to this, and could you just do a review for us? That would be fantastic. The funnier, the better. The more stars, the better. But it all works in the algorithms that if you get stars or thumbs up and then comments and stuff like that, it just kind of helps push it. So if you guys would be able to do that, again, if you can't afford $5, $10, $20, $50 a month, I wouldn't be able to. Just please at least just give us a review, make it funny. Contact us on our Facebook page, Pickle and Boot Shop. Yeah. Anything you want to add, Reese?
I just want to say we love you guys. Thanks so much for listening and supporting.
For a cup
us.
of
This is
coffee.
really fun. Cup of coffee. Oh yeah, dang it, I messed that up. Screw you guys, I don't love you. It's less than a cup of coffee. I messed that up too. All right, goodbye.
Yep. All right. See you, everybody.
To find out more, visit rockcandyrecordings.com.